Hello and welcome to a new episode of Anewgo of New Home Sales podcast. I'm your host, Anya Chrisanthon, and today joining me, my original co-host, our CEO, John Lee.
Hey guys.
And our VP of Sales, Beth Byrd.
Hi, everybody.
Today, we're going to dive into the topic of Anewgo Sales Center app. And we're going to talk about why the app was created, what it does, how it can help you sell more homes in the new year. So as we're recording this podcast, it's the very end of 2024. We're in the last week stretch right before Christmas. So happy holidays to you all. And we'll see you in the new year when this is releases. It's going to be 2025. So happy new year, happy selling. So first things first, what is the Sales Center app? So Sales Center app is a proprietary app that was developed by Anewgo. The Anewgo Sales Center app is really transforming the new home sales by seamlessly connecting online and in-person shopping experiences for new home sales specifically through intuitive digital platform. So from interactive site plans and virtual tours to real-time customization tools and instant price updates, it empowers sales teams to deliver personalized presentations while capturing valuable buyer insights at every touch point. So John Lee, why was there a need to create this new Sales Center app?
Well, I saw a market need both as a buyer and as a seller. Right now, we're in the business of selling the American dream, which is home ownership. But in chasing that dream, it's really a customer journey nightmare. And it always has been. I mean, if I go back to yesteryear when I bought 2 new construction homes back in the 1990s, that was a much simpler time in the sense. It was pre-internet, so everything was done offline. And there was very few marketing channels, unlike today. Basically, you had newspapers and magazines. Remember those things? And then it was just signs everywhere. Little signs in front of the community, big signs on billboards. And the only real channel there was the sales center. So you go in there and that was the marketing and that was the sales. And the way you got there was really through a realtor. In a sense, it was very simple, but it was simple because I didn't know anything else to look at because the realtor guided everything. They come out in the morning and says, hey, here's my list of places we're going to go. Some are existing homes, some are new homes. It's just from MLS, which we had no access to. And I just went along for the ride. My whole family took all day. It was painful. And then, my first house was a custom home. And even after I bought the home, I had to go through that whole design process. And that was just blindly envisioning what this house looked like from little swatches. It was kind of a painful process, a time-consuming process, but I literally didn't know any better. Fast forward to today, with the internet, it's brought, for better and for worse, a lot of changes. And now we're going from online to an offline experience. So it's really a hybrid experience. I wouldn't say it's the best of both worlds. Sometimes it's the worst of both worlds, because what's happened is the customer has to traverse all these channels. And I call it like a bucket brigade journey of silo channels, with the customer being the bucket that's being passed around. And you think about it now, the searches start online, and, for most people, they're just going to do a Google search. And what does that give them? Hundreds of websites of builders. And you have to go to each one and say, hey, does this have what I want? Can I find the plans? Can I read these things? And then you have to come back out and you research, and it's a repeated process, and it changes every day, and the order of things changes every day. The portals made things a little bit better, because one thing is portals brought all the homes to one place, used and new homes. And it also brought in the secret MLS listings, which now I don't have to go to a realtor per se, but then it's going to bombard me with all these advertisings for realtors to help me through this process. But even there, if I find a builder that I like, a plan that I like, I cannot go further down the funnel there. It will give me a link to a builder's website. In my old days, I can't even imagine going to Pulte headquarters to buy my Pulte home. The sales center of Pulte in that community was what I knew about the builder. Well, now you have to go to the builder's website to see all their plans and all their communities. So that's an extra step in there. I mean, it's a great step. I'll learn more about the builder, but it's an extra step I had to go to. And then once you find the community that you like, then you have to go to the sales center. And in that process, you go from an online experience, which is where the buyers like to have started. That's where most people do their shopping nowadays. And through the help of the OSC, online sales consultant, they now transfer you offline to a sales center. So that whole process is you have to go through multiple channels. They're all disconnected in their silos. And the terrible thing is that you have to re-register and start all over again. It doesn't bring your shopping cart of selections there with along with you. You don't even have a shopping cart. And every time you go to another channel, you have to meet possibly a new person the further you go down. And imagine repeating that same process over and over and over again with every builder you come in contact with. Now, fast forward to the future here. What we envision that could happen is everything can stay online, even if you meet the person in person, because everything should be digitally tracked so that you can start wherever you left off in that process. And that requires an ecosystem where all these channels are synced, data synced, and you can start and finish the shopping journey wherever you want. It's not necessarily that you go from search engine to portal to website to the sales center. It could be that you start from the sales center and then you go back to their website and you want to continue that journey as you compare other communities, other plans. So wherever you want to jump on and off that train in your customer journey, that's where we want to help you. And it's going to become more and more important as AI comes into the picture, because AI wants to traverse all those channels along with you as a personal assistant. So that data needs to flow freely across all these channels in both directions. So here, back to the sales center. Here's the irony. Specifically, sales centers are arguably the most critical step in the entire sales journey, right? And this is where you kind of seal the deal. But it's also the most antiquated part of the whole journey, because the tech dollars are spent at the top of the funnel by the marketing people to attract that audience that's online and engage them online and hopefully capture that lead. And so the crazy part is when you get to the sales center, because it's all disconnected, the salesperson like, who are you? What do you want? What do you like? And they're like, wait a minute, I've already designed this stuff. I already figured everything I have in my shopping cart. Well, can you repeat that? I mean, the salesperson is not helping you. It's actually becoming a hindrance to your journey. It's actually becoming a friction as opposed to being a facilitator. And that's what we want to change. And so what we want to do is bring that technology that's been at the top of the funnel, bring it from MarTech down to sales tech to help the salesperson curate and convert that in-person shopper. And so this way, the salespeople are no longer not just disconnected from their team, but they're no longer disconnected from their customer. We want them to be able to engage with them, capture those leads, be able to follow up. And the other part, and Beth can attest to this, and I'll hand it over here. A lot of the sales centers today are still relics of the past. I mean, they're like museums. They have all these printed static content brochures that's not up to date, that's nailed on the wall or on a big sales console with monopoly pieces for the site plan. It's just an antiquated process.
Yeah.
We want to change
And I
all
think
that.
for consumer in general, when they come into the sales center, they know specifically for women, especially, and we know women are the primary decision makers when it comes to buying homes or everything else for that matter. They experience the same feeling that they experience when they pull up to a car dealership. And Beth, I know you can attest to that. When I think about car dealership, I just think about a slimy, middle-aged, old school men that are gonna like try to trick me and not make me feel really good through the whole process. And so we know that women specifically experience this when they pull up to the sales center. So already you are kind of on the alert. You're already have your guard up when you're coming in, and then you go in and you have to basically retell your whole life story. And again, of course, there's part about rapport building, right? But like this person, so things are changing, and now it's not that you want to skip the rapport, right? Because again, John Lee, when you're saying we want to make sure that the whole process goes online, I want to clarify that part, because when you say that we want to make that process go online, you don't actually mean we want to eliminate the salespeople here,
Oh,
right?
definitely not. But we want to take whatever they have done online and bring it right to where they are in that step in the funnel. And even when they leave the sales center and whatever the salesperson has contributed in their recommendations and guidance, that they can continue that journey when they're back at home. So by having everything digitally stored online, whether it's your documents or your selections, or your shopping cart, you can interact with the builder, like I said, in person or offline, but it's digitally tracked in the cloud. Let's put it that way.
And so I want to make a distinction here. So we at Anewgo are really known for our interactive design tools.
Mhm.
So let's talk about what is the difference between our interactive design tools and the sales center. So it's a separate piece, right? So I want to make sure that our listeners understand, do I need to have Anewgo design tools in order to use the sales center? And how is the sales center different from me just pulling up Anewgo Design Center online?
I can speak to that. And I'll tell you, I feel like the model home experience has, like John said, it's not been great for the customer or for the salesperson. And I think this tool has benefits on both sides that I really want to talk about. So for the customer, I have a fundamental belief that a model home or a sales office should look and feel like a home. And that the more that it looks like you're stepping into a marketing thing full of lots of words and we want to sell you signals, which is what they see when they see all of that stuff all over the walls, it's a turnoff, sort of like that car salesperson. Although I have to say, I'm weird. I love going to meet salespeople because I want to study, like, what are their tips? What are their tricks? What are they
You're learning
doing? What's
techniques.
working? Not normal. I know most people don't. Most people find that cringy, but I find it fascinating. So salespeople out there, if you want to get a little good sales training lesson for free, go visit your local car lot. But back to the topic, as we're thinking about the experience in the model home, we can spend a lot of money on those posters and it doesn't create a welcoming environment for the customer. Using technology, a screen, whether it's small, a tablet, a large touchscreen TV on the wall, lots of different ways that we can implement this, they're able to get all the information they need without feeling like it's screaming at them from all around. They can access the points that are important to them as it's appropriate for them to interact with those. And so I would say from the consumer's perspective, that's a big part of it. And then from the salesperson's perspective, there's a lot of tools and resources that are needed when they're demonstrating to a customer. And first, the customer who's walking in the door, yes, they're worried about what floor plan do I like, what colors do I like, but first they're really thinking about what part of town am I in? Do I like this area? What's in this community? What would life look like here? And so the My Home app tools, while there are places to have pictures and information about that, the sales center is really designed to put that front and center in a rich experience where those images are big and bold and right in front of you, and you can easily swipe or tap through them and really help the salesperson explain to the customer what would their life look like in this community in a way that the other tools don't really do that quite as much because they're meant for two different parts of the sales process, right? And then further, I would say the salesperson without a tool like this is grabbing from lots of places. They're pulling a flyer for a floor plan. They're getting a brochure of included features. Then they're finding the site map that's marked up with the little dots or the monopoly pieces of what's available. They're having to pull from a lot of different places, and it feels a little disjointed, even for a well-prepared salesperson who has all of that at their fingertips, where everything condensed in one app, where you can seamlessly jump through and access all of that information all at once in one place, and then with the push of a button, turn it into a brochure at the end that's custom to that customer. It's so easy for the salesperson, and it is professional and polished, and the customer is going to be thinking, boy, this person's really got it together, rather than watching them frantically grabbing for different pieces of paper all around the office.
Yeah, and one of the things I remember as an ex-salesperson myself back in the day was specifically at whether it was Ryan Homes or any smaller custom builder that I worked for, it was like a line of posters on the wall. The first poster was the location, yeah, because we start from a location and then we work into, okay, what are the floor plans, features, etc. But one of the beauties of this is that you can customize it on the fly to make it appropriate and interesting to your person who's standing in front of you. So if they're interested in the closest hospitals because maybe they are an elderly person and they need to be close to their primary care provider, or whether it's daycare and all the activities with the kids because they have young children, you can customize points of interest to reflect what's going to be important to that particular customer. So as a salesperson, if you know ahead of time that I'm having an appointment in an hour and this person is coming in, you actually have an ability to go into the back end to customize some of those things. I mean, I'm not saying you're going to customize it for every single person, but it's great that you can really add more than your typical, whatever, 5 to 10 points of interest that are typically displayed on the map, like the airport and the mall.
Right, absolutely. And also we would have a challenge of, okay, we've got a new promotion. We decided on Thursday that we want to roll this out for the weekend. There's no way we're going to get signage printed up immediately to put this promotion in our model. But guess what? In 30 seconds, you can upload an image and it's the screensaver on the kiosk and you've got it saved in a couple of different places. So you can immediately update and put in front of your customer what you want them to see in a way that's not feasible when you're talking actual print, and it's very expensive even if you've got the time to get it done. So it's very affordable option to change on the fly.
Key features of our app here is that customization, and you don't have to be a programmer. You don't have to call us up even. You can do it yourself. And I always say, if you can do Facebook, you can update the sales center on the fly because it's all done in real time. And your community is an ever evolving entity in a sense. You may not have all these amenities right out the gate, but when you do want to add that amenity section later, because you have photos or you have virtual tours, you have content for it, you can now add that into your sales center thing. It pops up as another tab there. So you can add things like talk about your lifestyle or your amenities or the points of interest area maps like you're talking about, or just a photo gallery of content. And we have all these set templates to make it a little easier for you. So for your homepage, there's like 15 different configurations you can choose from the layouts to the color themes to whether you want video or you want photos, even like screensavers. We have like 5 different ones. Sometimes the screensavers are your lifesavers because when you're busy and somebody comes in there, they're not just seeing a blank picture on the wall. They're seeing a video play. They're seeing an introduction about who you are and what your community lifestyle is. And all of that, like I said, is so easy to update and it's free on the back end. Just drag and drop, and there it is. And you can have the power be at the local sales center level by the community manager, or it could be done from corporate. And all these sales centers, although they're independent and focused on that community, they're also all connected to your whole community network. So if you're saying, hey, that same house is available down the street and you're willing to work remotely and live a little bit further away for cheaper, we can switch you right over there. So, and we track all this in our back-end insights. There's a back end to the back end. So we are watching how your customer's shopping journey is happening, how your salespeople are reacting and interacting and following up. All that information is not only good for the builder and for you as a marketing and salesperson, but it's also going to be good for AI, because AI would now be able to, hopefully in the future, be able to make predictions and recommendations based on activity in the customer journey, both from your website and down to your sales center.
Yeah. And John, you mentioned something interesting that made me think about, there's really 3 use cases here, right? We talked about salesperson with the customer and they're standing side by side, and let me show you the great pool in the community. Then you've got the customer who comes in when the salesperson's busy with someone else. So rather than just aimlessly wandering or picking up a brochure, they can tap the screen to start and they can really explore on their own while they're waiting for the salesperson. And then the third is we're seeing such an increase in self-tours. So builders are allowing buyers to come through on their own. And this is a really great opportunity to get in front of them information that they might not have seen typically on an unaccompanied tour. So all 3 are really good practical uses for this app.
And the reason it works is because we created our sales center app to have that responsive design. So it can show up on a 75-inch high definition TV screen. It can be touch screen even. And you can see that and it's great for group presentations to a realtor group or a family that comes by. But it also, at the same time, simultaneously, because it's connected to the web, you can have multiple sales kiosks with just iPads on there, and they can help themselves get started while it's really packed and busy in there. They can even take, if they've already started the process on your website and they want to continue their shopping journey, they can come in and scan the QR code, just like when you go to the airport and you've already bought your tickets online, but you want to check in your baggage and all that stuff. You just check in there in a sense. So we know you're there, but we also have brought all your luggage, all your baggage in a sense, in your shopping cart virtually there so that the salesperson can start when they're available, right where you left off. And the other application, like you're talking about, is that self-tour aspect of it. We also working with InterNow, and they do self-guided tours. And Barrett's team there are starting to put these iPads, and it could also be on a computer monitor or laptop inside the self-guided tour home. So it's already deep linked to just that specific plan. So they can learn about the floor plans and all the amenities and custom design their kitchens and everything, because obviously they only build it one way. But we're going to say that same house could also be available on this other lot because we have the site plan there. And while they're there, they don't need to go call the salesperson, since they can see a virtual tour of the community. They can watch videos and they can learn about the amenities and the points of interest that relates to them personally. It's about providing that generalization presentation, but also allows that personalization, customization. And then when they come back to the sales center, they just said, go to the salesperson and say, hey, this is what I did on my self-guided tour. Hey, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And
Anya, you asked us earlier about why do we need both? It really is the user interface. It is designed to be very simple, very user-friendly on your own, touch and tap. So it's simplified and you have larger images, which is really key in a presentation like this. It's important to understand that people interact with technology differently depending on where they're encountering it. And what they would use. Just accessing a website in a situation like this is not going to engage the buyer in the same way as a kiosk that has big images and really obvious buttons and really simple drag and drop and move to the next functions like the sales app are going to include.
Here's another little sales tip, since we're talking about sales techniques. Since you have the power to upload all your content right there, if you're a sales manager and you have a light day, why don't you just go through your home site, walk around, take pictures, and then just drag and drop every picture for every home site, every amenity up there. So you're seeing this community virtually come to life. And at the same time, the people that are online, as they're shopping different things, it's also giving you information about, hey, there's 5 people that are interested in lot 10, and we want 20 people to look at it. So let's promote lot 10 with a lot more pictures and descriptions. You can respond to how the market is responding and reacting. And the beautiful thing, tied with our insights, which actually tracks that sales channel, when you make these marketing campaigns or updates, this is putting marketing in the hands of salespeople, which I kind of whisper that because I know the marketing people are probably a little freaked out by
that. Yeah, you might have some people
yeah,
yeah,
we'll see how it plays out. Or maybe the marketing person comes out and pays a site visit.
Yeah.
But as you put that information on there and post it on social media or an email campaign or whatever, you can immediately see in insights the reaction to that. Oh, wow, look at that lot 10. It's amazing. All those photos and all of a sudden. So now you went from 5 people to that 20 people that you're looking for. And now you can adjust the pricing or you can invite them in.
Yeah, speaking of site plans and lots, now would be a good time, depending where you are in the country, before it's covered in snow and mud and it's yucky outside. It's a good time to go out there and take those gorgeous pictures. So you can always time the right time, right? Like, when is your home site looking the best? Go out there, take those pictures. So then when you are selling in the middle of winter, February, and it's 5 feet of snow outside, depending where you are, and you can't see anything, you can't really see the difference between the different home sites, where it ends and whatnot. You can really showcase, oh, look, I took pictures, this is what it looks like. And again, as a salesperson, one of the best things you can do is go out there and walk the home sites, right? We know that there's a link between sales and actually walking home sites. So in a situation where you can't do it, or it's again not ideal, customers don't want to go out in the bad weather, if it's raining,
Right.
you still have this tool to show off what that home site looks like. So why don't we recap some of the features to make it easier for our listeners to understand really what are some of the top features? I know we've talked a lot already about some of them, but John, maybe you can give us bulleted feature list so that we can address what did we cover and what we haven't covered yet.
Well, the main thing is we bring in all that content that you have created, whether it's virtual tours and videos and then photos, but we allow you to really showcase your community with the customization features. So you can look at that site plan and maybe take a virtual tour of it to see how it looks like when it's going to be finished in 5 years and not just covered with snow. But you can also see real-time photos, like you're saying, to give updates and all that kind of stuff. But that site plan also allows you to see what plans are available on which lots, what lots are available to design and build on versus inventory homes. So it really gives a map for the salesperson to show what to sell and to actually even pre-select a guided tour for the buyer, because they say, oh, you're interested in this cul-de-sac lot, whatever. Before we walk out there in the snow, at least we actually have it mapped out there. And then on the customization side, which is really related to the house plan, the buyer can go in there just like they can on our home design app on their website, be able to select a home plan and be able to not only design the exterior colors and the floor plan options and the interior, kitchen designs and everything, but you can also price it out because it has a real-time price and mortgage calculator, because that's very important. And they can save this to their shopping cart and they can save multiple ones for comparison purposes. That's really a great tool for the salesperson to sit down with them, because in the same time, they're not just selling them, they're trying to consult them. Okay, you have a budget of $500,000. You can have house A with this, this, and this on this lot, or you can have house B with this, this, and this on this lot. What are the trade-offs and timing and all that stuff? And you see it visually, you see it financially, and then I can also be on site to take you there. And the nice thing about this is where you're a little bit stalking as a salesperson. You make, hey, out of all these A, B, C, D, E houses here, I really recommend C, because C, I think, is the perfect match for you. Now you say, okay, go back home on your merry way. And then I will get a notification as a salesperson when the buyer comes in there and they've registered, they log back in, okay, because they want to see their favorites, or when they've favored another house, or they visit a community and all that kind of stuff. So one, I can say, wait, did you actually come back to my community? Okay, good, check. Number two, did you really fall in love with C? What? You actually chose B? Maybe it's okay because you bought within my deck of cards, but the thing is, you can see if they really reacted positively or negatively to what you recommended, and then you shape your conversation accordingly. Actually, B is a wonderful choice. I mean, we can actually schedule a tour. I have some great designs and all this stuff. Let's move to where they are and not necessarily drag them to where we want them to be.
Yes.
So I'm going to do something a little weird for a podcast, and that's that I'm going to share my screen so only those of you watching by video can see this, but I'm going to encourage you, jump on YouTube, jump on our website and look at the video, because I think this is so beautiful. I just had to show it. But for those of you who are only listening, I'm going to try to paint a picture in words of what we're seeing here. And one of my favorite really simple features of this is the screensaver. Sounds boring, but what we're looking at now is a gallery of photos. And I imagine now at the holidays, you could throw in some great holiday images of your homes mixed in. And then in the spring, you've got flowers and life coming up. And in the summer, maybe you've got summer activities, the neighborhood pool, so you could change this seasonally. This also could be a video. It can be a carousel, it can be a single image, but there's lots of things that it can do. And there's a button that says touch screen to begin. And when we touch it, we're at the home page. And this home page, just like John said, highly customizable. It can have as few as 3 categories and as many as 7. So options to showcase what's most important. And the one that we're looking at here, we have amenities, we have gallery, home sites, plans, about the builder, an area map, and lifestyle. So these are all different categories that a salesperson may want to demonstrate to the customer to help them understand. And each of these is clickable or tappable if you're on a touch screen. So as you open amenities, there's this beautiful photo gallery with a really simple menu. We're seeing dog parks and sports activities and the pool and clubhouse. And the buyers can just click through very easily. And then at the bottom, there's a very simple menu where they can access the other things. They can look at the gallery, they can look at the lifestyle. And then really the meat and potatoes of it, right, is the home sites and the plans. So it's nice to paint the picture and show them, but we want to create an action. So these tabs are designed to move them forward in the process, to help them make a decision. This might be early in the sales process, or my friend Roland and I were talking about, these are a great recap option as well. So at the end of an appointment, a salesperson may come back and they're not even worried at this point about the amenities, but let's go back and look at the site map again together. And let's see the home sites that you were most interested in. And I'm going to click on one here and I'm going to pick my elevation, and then it's going to say, let's start designing this. And it's going to take me through the whole design flow where I select my color scheme, and then I select my floor plan options. I pick all of my interior details, I confirm my home site, and then when you hit summary, here's everything I've picked. And I can click a button that says get brochure, and I instantly have a custom brochure with this customer that I've met with. That's exactly what we talked about. I mean, that will just blow their mind. They're used to having like a printed out version of the floor plan and then some random things thrown together. If you present them a custom brochure with their colors, their price, their home site, this is really impressive. And all along the price is in the top corner and updating as they choose the options. So that's a general overview of the interface here. Like we said, sign in is super simple. They can sign in with a QR code from their phone. So we make it really easy. And then we also, in the navigation menu, can jump to the other communities, like you mentioned earlier. Another cool feature is you can have your salespeople sign in. So whoever is signed in that session will get the leads, which is how most builders work leads on site, right? Whoever is there and meets the customer gets the lead. That's how we built this Sales Center app. Another reason that it functions differently from the other tools is we've designed it to really match the way that most builders have their sales models set up. So rather than this lead going to the marketing department or wherever you've designated marketing leads go, the lead is tied to the salesperson. Now, of course, the marketing team still has access to see it. Don't worry, it's not lost. It is accessible in the back end, but it really helps the salesperson to feel connected and part of this. When they are signed in, they're going to be even more likely to get their customers to register in here when they know that they're going to gain access to all of this really invaluable information. And most importantly, when they hit that get brochure button, their information is on the brochure as the salesperson, which is really, I'll tell you what a salesperson wants. They want their information in front of the buyer so that they're sure that buyer comes back to ask them to help them with the sale. It eliminates questions of whose lead this is because it was clearly registered under that salesperson in the model, and the brochure has their name on it. So that's for those of you who can't see, hopefully I explained well enough. And for those of you on video, it's just so simple and attractive looking that I just had to share with you all.
Great overview. And I'll just add one last thing on there. In our backend insights there, we are the scorekeeper there. So one, the salesperson gets that lead attribution. So their name and their picture is on that brochure. It's on a personalized brochure, which also incentivizes the buyer to actually give you their email address because they want that email in there, but they also sets up their shopping cart for them. So that in the sense you're setting them up, but all this in the back-end insights, now we can see how many customers that Beth got that day and how those customers are doing in the overall sales process and vice versa. We can start with the buyer first and see which communities, which plans, and who their salesperson are. So we can look at it in our overall ecosystem. I call it people, products, and places. People is you can look at the analytics from the buyer's perspective, which things they've put on their shopping cart, which channels they've shopped on, and who they talk to. The other part of it, if you look at from products, everybody that's looked at this plan, everybody that's visited home site 5, and you can see all those leads. So as a salesperson, you know where to start based on the products that you're trying to push. And the other one is places, which is in our world is channels. which channel are your customers at? Are they all still at the very top of the funnel? Well, how do you move them down to the sales center? Are they all just like hanging out in the sales center and they're not moving any further? What kind of campaigns do you need to push them one way or the other? And seeing that in one giant radar of an ecosystem in a sense, and we also have our Anewgo marketplace, which has about 300 builders on plans and communities in there. So we see all the flights that are happening in our ecosystem in a sense, but we can all work with each other, us, the marketing people and your sales people, to really funnel your customers to the right products at the right time.
Yes. And what I love about this is that it can be used on any screen, right? So you can use it on a large screen when you're coming into the community for that presentation, but then you can also pick up an iPad and have this information as you're walking the model home with your customer. And
Right.
instead of presenting this generic model home to them, you can design this model home and change the floor plan, change options, change pricing as you go along. So you can really design a home for them as you're walking through, as they say, oh, I love to have a fireplace. That's a must-have for me. Boop, you add it on. So that by the end, you're not, again, sitting down to go through all the pricing and take another hour of your time. You already have essentially a home priced out with the features that they want after just walking through that model home. And again, you can get it on the go as you're walking community, and maybe you're standing in front of that home site and you want to be able to visualize the home, what that's going to look like. So it's really useful, not just for presentations, but on the go presentations. Now, we've talked about a lot of different features, and I can see how that's really valuable for both the customer and the builder. But let's highlight some of those benefits. First, let's start off with the builder. So Beth, since you've had builder experience, for those of you who don't know, Beth used to work for a home builder for many, many years before she came over to Anewgo. So as a builder, what are the features that you would value the most?
I think it falls into two categories for me. One is the ease of use and the customization, just that I can make it look the way I want immediately without having to put in an order or a request or having to rely on an outside team to make those updates. I can on the fly have my marketing team make it the way I look for this weekend in the model home. And then the other side of it is, as a salesperson, having that instant access that I talked about earlier and feeling like, okay, I'm polished and put together and I don't have to start digging for all the different papers or all the different files on my computer from so many different sources. I can very quickly get the customer what I need. We know our friend Jeff Shore says easy equals right with the customer. And so something like this that makes it easy and it eliminates time for them to start questioning, frankly, what's going on and coming up with more objections. It's just an easy yes, moving to an easy yes, moving to an easy yes when you go through a really seamless solution like this.
Yes, I can only imagine the benefits to the customer. Again, when you're coming into a sales office where it's back to 1999 with piles of paper everywhere. I mean, I remember when I used to be a salesperson, we would print out these DIY flyers and we would have to change the price because the price would be outdated so quickly. And then somebody comes in with that flyer that you gave them a couple of weeks ago and the prices changed.
Right.
Now, this allows you to make a change in one place and it automatically updates across all of your channels. So that's really important because once that home site is off the market, it's updated automatically on your website, it's updated in the sales center, it's updated in your marketing materials so that you have the same information across all the channels and that nobody can double sell a home site because they thought it was available, or the price changes. We all know about those price changes, right? Like every week you'll have a price change and no more printing out that outdated information. So it's all up to date and immediately updated. So I think as a customer, it just gives such a better feeling that your builder is in this current century, right? Actually doing business the way we are used to with everything else. So it just makes your brand much more attractive when you're a tech forward brand.
Yeah, you actually hit on a very important point. One of the nice things about our ecosystem and all those channels is that we have one common content management system. So you only update it one place. You don't have to figure out which things are out of sync and upload multiple thumbnails and everything. When you upload it, whichever channel, in a sense, you're uploading it for, it actually affects the other channels as well. And the nice thing is because we create your content for all the interactive product content, when we update it, it automatically is disseminated across all those channels. It's all in sync. When you change pricing, when you change a lot status, it's all in sync. And that makes the marketing person's and the salesperson's job much easier.
Yes. So now let's talk pricing and implementation, because I'm sure our listeners have lots of questions about how much does this cost? How can I get my hands on it? And what does that look like? So let's start off with pricing. What's the cost of this?
Okay, so this is the really exciting part. The first community is free for the lifetime of that community. Woohoo!
And so anytime for free too. Yeah.
Yes, we believe in this so much that we are willing to offer that first community at no cost to our customers because we know that they're going to love it. And then if they want to add additional communities, it's very simple. It's $100 a month per community. And that's it. There's no extra fees. You can make all the changes you want without spending any more money. It's a very, very simple subscription add-on to the other content that we're doing for you.
Yeah, there's no long-term contract. So after 6 months, if you want to cancel it, then that's fine. So we don't want to hold you hostage. We want to make you happy.
Right.
All right, let's talk about implementation and training. So what's involved? How difficult is it to get started?
This is so easy. So I will tell you, in my first month at Anewgo, in fact, it was probably somewhere around like week 3, I created a demo sales center for a community, and I did it. Oh, I should have recorded the time, but maybe in an hour or so, I was able to put all of the pieces together. And this was for a community that didn't exist. So I had to go and find images that if I was a marketer, I probably would have already had in my folder somewhere. I had to kind of make stuff up. So it probably took a little longer than normal, but very, very easy to set up. So you would contact me and I would get you set up, get your account manager to turn on your sales center for the community or communities, hopefully, that you'd like to get started. And then you can get in there and start plugging in exactly how you want your pages set up, adding the images for those pages, and then all the plans, site plan information, that just feeds through automatically. You don't have to do anything. The only thing that you're setting up are those more lifestyle image-rich pages that we talked about earlier that would be more marketing like. So it's super quick and easy. And then one of the other things that I love about all of our products is we do offer free training to all of our clients. So Kim, our incredible client success manager, she will sit down with you via Zoom, or I guess if you're local in Raleigh, you can come in and meet her in person because she's so awesome. But we will do training with you and make sure your team feels comfortable knowing how to use that, and really ongoing throughout the life of your interaction with that. Anytime you need, we've got really great help articles in our library that show screenshots, step-by-step, how to do everything. So I know I used to reach out to Kim often and say, Kim, I'm stuck, what do I do? And she would come to my rescue and send me that article and tell me step-by-step what to do. If you need that as well, we have amazing help resources, but it's so easy that I don't think that you'll run into any trouble.
And just to echo what you said, the demo app that you just showed, and it's obviously on our website, the CEO here that doesn't know any programming, I did that. I'm not even a design person. I'll admit that I cheated with some of the nice images. I just went to AI and say, hey, generate a lifestyle image of this and that. With a little AI help, but the rest of it was just on my own. Yeah. And literally it was like an hour as well.
That's awesome. So do you need to be an Anewgo client in order to use this Sales Center app? And then if you do need to be an Anewgo client, what are some of the tools that you have to have at minimum? In other words, do you need to have Anewgo virtual tours? Can it be a virtual tour from somebody else? Do you need to have our design tools? So what's involved, just so our listeners can understand?
Well, we are really opening this up. I mean, it's only been like about 3 months here. We're really opening this up to our current clients because this is the easiest transition point. It's almost like, why wouldn't you do this if you have sales centers, communities? Like you said, 1 hour thing. Now, there could be some new clients here that may want to have a sales center, but they haven't used our content. So you could obviously bring in all the content that's non-product related into our app, into your sales center app, but you can also bring in the static content for the elevations and the site plans. But what's happening is you kind of diluted some of the value of that, which is the customization and the reason people would want to register and save their favorites. And our UI is primarily geared toward that customization element. We can bring in your static content. We have quick move-in homes, so you can have your inventory homes in there easily. But what we hope is that you come in here and you give it a try. And then hopefully, as you add more and more content that's engaging and helps the salesperson, that you will transition to us, not just for the sales center, but I'll also have this on your website.
And let's talk about hardware. So we mentioned that you can use it on a big screen TV, iPads. So in other words, you don't need to purchase a sales kiosk from us for hardware in order to use this. Is that correct?
That's right. We've made this in such a way that it can be used on any type of screen. I love the touch screens personally. I think that's a really good user experience in the model to have a touch screen, but it doesn't have to be that. If you've got a large monitor on the wall that you're already utilizing, you can plug it in there. We've had some clients who purchase smart boards. I think that's a really great option for using these. We have others who do iPads or tablets, touchscreen TVs, any kind of monitor works.
Yeah, and actually some of the salespeople, when they're really further down the funnel and they have a really serious buyer, they could have in their own offices their desktop or their laptop. So now you can have a private consultation, especially when you get to the pricing and things like that.
Yes. So just to clarify, you don't need to purchase any hardware from us. We don't sell hardware. We'll give you the software. So it's an app that goes on to your devices. So you would purchase the device and we would get you set up with the software.
Right. And let's clarify, it's a web app. This is not a native app that you have to download separately. So any internet browser this can be used on.
Yeah, you just change it to a presentation mode, full screen, so you don't see all the icons and everything, and it looks really crisp and clear and engaging.
Good point. Okay, let's quickly talk about ROI. So I know this is a relatively new feature that we've offered. It's only been out for about 3 months, maybe a little bit longer. So John, I know we do have one client who's got over 70 communities now on this. So have you gotten any feedback on that? And what's that look like?
Yeah, in all transparency, I haven't had the conversation with them, but actions speak louder than words. And 2 actions, they keep ordering more, right? So they probably have about 100 communities and 73 of them are already on there. And then the other thing that's action speak louder than words is because I get to watch from the back end insights, and they can see this as well. I can see their cell centers literally light up during the day because we have hourly slots, and I can see when the most traffic comes in and how engaged they are. And then later on, we'll start to see who has registered in those cell centers. So I don't know the conversion rates. They probably don't want to share it with me. Definitely don't want to share it with everyone else. Everyone likes to keep their own secrets here, but we are seeing that they are an important part of the sales process. I've seen them actually make a video to demonstrate some of this stuff internally, how to use it as well as externally. And we've probably had about 4 or 5 other builders that have signed on, and nobody has canceled. So even though with free cancellation, nobody's canceling. So that's a positive thing. I'm just kind of reading the future.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's important to think about is what would you have spent on marketing items that this will replace? And some builders may choose to still put all that stuff on the walls and have the kiosk or the tablet or the screen. That's okay. But I really think it will mean you're spending less money on physical marketing collateral, and that stuff is not cheap, and then paying for the installation of it is not cheap. So when you think about the life cycle of a model home or a sales center and how long you'll utilize this kiosk, you'll probably spend less on the monthly subscription fee than you would have spent on all of the signs and other things that this is replacing.
Absolutely. Just think about as you start selling and you discover that this floor plan is not a go and you need a different floor plan to swap it out. Now you have to change your whole collateral. And again, not to even talk about those sticky notes for the home sites, right? The solds, the holds, the fakes, and all the tricks. So it keeps everything clean, up to date.
Also, this actually allows you to extend that sales process beyond just your physical sales center. Like I said earlier, people can do this as they're walking the neighborhood. They can do that specifically in a model home or self-guided tour home. But we've even had some builders talk about having this in a centralized sales center that services 5 or 10 communities, or even in a sales kiosk in a mall, or or a pop-up event. So yeah, and you're not going to want to bring your file cabinets of all your brochures there and everything when people are having cocktails. You just want to say, hey, this is our community here. We're out here in this amphitheater, and you're just playing around with it. I mean, talk about bringing your product to where the consumers are.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're not going to bring all the swatches and everything, but you can easily show them the exteriors, the interiors. That's a great point, John. So before we wrap up, what's on the roadmap? What are you dreaming up, John, as far as features? What are you thinking that's going to be added next to the Sales Center app?
Oh, go ahead, Beth. You have
I don't know if everybody's ready. If we hear all that you're dreaming up for the future, my mind might just explode. So maybe just give us like the next little bit of future.
Okay, well, the first thing is we have to connect all our systems. So the irony is the sales center, which I think, like I said, is the most critical piece, has always been the tech laggard. It's always all the other channels, whether it's the websites or our Anewgo marketplace, have always had the latest tech. But because it's the last one to get updated, the last will become first in a sense, because it now has all the latest features. And so the next rollout will be for our new websites, which are going to be the first ones in the industry, which are all interactive, personalized, dynamic websites, none of those static, generic ones. We want to bring that personalization into those websites, but the websites are not like our current website web apps, which are iframed into your domain. That will be on your domain. So your entire domain will have this technology, personalization, customization, saving shopping carts and everything. And now you will have even better tracking of your entire customer journey from your website to your sales center. That's all in your domain. And as we continue to add these channels in here, it naturally automatically populates our Anewgo marketplace. Nobody has to pay any money for that. It just automatically shows it there one of these days. So it could be a popular destination site to shopping in one place, like an Amazon in a sense. But as we connect all these channels together, let the buyer shop whatever they want, but really get the appeal and pricing out what they really want for their dream home. And then once we build a super highway of a connected ecosystem where you can shop from start to finish and wherever you want and however you want, and maybe bring AI into it, because the AI also needs that freedom of access at a superhuman level, speed, response time, 24/7, being your personal assistant as you go down these sales journeys. And then not just taking your requests, your conversations, your behavior, but people like you will probably also like this. And not only help you through this comparative shopping, but eliminate FOMO, the fear of missing out. I know you like this type of house, this type of lifestyle, this type of community, this home site, but you're not going to search every day. You can't come out here and visit every day. But why don't I notify you as soon as it comes up, like an Uber, and give you that Netflix experience of starting out wherever you left off? So you never have to start from square one. You actually start off way down the funnel and you just hit that reserve now. And when you hit that reserve or buy now, it immediately, whether you're in the community or on your website, it now reserves that home site so nobody else can take it. What we want to do is make that customer journey seamless, painless, but also transparent, and eliminate the frustration and risk of missing out.
Love that. So if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, I want to give it a shot, what's the best way to get started with this? Beth, why don't you plug your contact information?
Yeah, contact me. It's easy. It's my first name, Beth, at anewgo.com. So super simple. Drop me an email and I'll get you hooked up.
Well, I think that's all for today, unless I missed anything. Any last thoughts? No, I think we've covered it all. Thank you.
Give it a try, because you don't have to buy.
There you go. First community is free. So you guys, thank you so much for being a part of our Anewgo journey for a great 2024. Cheers to the new year 2025, and we cannot wait to deliver more content for you in 2025. That's, as always, hopefully a little bit mind-blowing. So you guys, thank you for staying here with us, and we will talk to you very, very soon. Bye.
All right. Thanks. Bye.